The following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
Welcome into Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. I'm Chris Yao. He's Mo Patton, and we are so glad to have you with us here on this wild and wacky Wednesday edition. And boy, what a wild and wacky Wednesday it is going to be because, well, Tuesday was wild and wacky.
Tuesday night specifically.
It was a little crazy. Sarah asked me, she said, "Why are you still up? It's like 11:30." And I'm like, well,
waiting to see what's going to happen next.
Exactly. What's coming down the pike is the question. So anyway, we've got a fantastic show ahead for you. We're going to be joined by AL.com's NUBYJAS WILBORN. He's going to talk to us about the hiring of Hugh Freeze down at Auburn, and
which is now old news.
It is. And we will delve into the rest of the coaching carousel, or at least some of it. That will be fun. We'll also talk about the college football playoff and how it's trash can juice. Haven't used that one in a while, but I'm going to get all of it out that I have. I've already gotten it out on Twitter, but we're going to throw it out there anyway. Put it on TikTok later, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, we're going to get to that. We will also talk to Chip Walters about Middle Tennessee State, whose men's basketball, women's basketball, football all had a pretty good weekend. And so looking forward to catching up with Chip on Middle Tennessee State athletics. And of course, the Blue Cross Bowl state championships kick off tomorrow with, well, our top, the subject of our top story. He will be a part of that first 10 a.m. Central kickoff. And so, yeah.
Well, he's certainly scheduled to be as of right now, unless something changes.
Well, you never know.
Exactly.
But we will make our predictions for the D2 games today. We'll get to D1 tomorrow. And so that should be fun. Should be a good show. So let's get into it as quickly as we can. But first, Mo, how are you?
Funny you should ask. I've been better.
I can hear a little bit of the cracking.
Yeah.
So
it's better today.
We'll power through.
Yeah.
We do like your hoodie, though. It is the Sherpa hoodie is probably my favorite part of this whole show.
Man.
For the next 3 months.
Yeah.
I ain't mad at you. I'm freezing here.
We don't have heat. You're going to see it from time to time. What?
We don't have heat in here in the Florida room.
Oh goodness.
So
you need a Sherpa hoodie too.
It's cold right now. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, we get to it now. Yesterday's results, today's schedule, and one result from today on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
Girls high school basketball action from Tuesday night. Beach with a 71-43 win over visiting Summit. Independence defeated Cane Ridge 49-34. It was Clarksville Academy 71, West Creek 42. Rockvale with a 43-35 win over Columbia. Christ Presbyterian Academy defeated Davidson Academy 45-40. Moore County doubled up Culleoka 64-32. It was Ezel Harding with a 56-30 win over Silverdale Academy. Nolensville edged Franklin 52-47. Portland doubled up Friendship Christian 40-20. Gallatin down Mount Juliet 48-35. It was Oakland with a 64-59 win over Green Hill. Hampshire defeated Lewis County 41-22. Harpeth Hall knocked off Chattanooga Girls Preparatory School 72-56. Hickman County with a 43-41 win over Fairview. Overton defeated Antioch 56-40, and Loretto edged Lawrence County 54-50.
Liberty Creek with a 53-31 win over Merle Hyde. It was McGavock 60, Hume Fogg 23. Nashville Christian down to Hendersonville 42-36, while Laverne took care of Pope Prep 53-34. Providence Christian down Columbia Academy 60-44. It was Lebanon 54, Riverdale 15. Santa Fe down to Zion Christian 48-25, while East Hickman defeated Spring Hill 56-40. It was Stewart's Creek in 97-12 over Kenwood. That's rough. Middle Tennessee Christian down to University School of Nashville, and it wasn't much better, 79-20. The final score there. Webb School defeated Grace Franklin 72-19. Boy, what a rough day. Springfield, a little closer here, 46. White House Heritage 41, and Brentwood over Wilson Central 78-50.
In boys basketball action on Tuesday, Beach defeated Summit 58-46. Battleground Academy defeated Franklin Road Academy 75-62. It was Rossview with a 57-56 win over Brentwood Academy. Independence 76, Cane Ridge 61. It was Centennial 56, Siegel 44. Clarksville Academy with a 69-55 win over West Creek. Clarksville Northwest edged Clarksville Northeast 58-53. Rockvale with a 64-60 win over Columbia Central. Davidson Academy 68, Christ Presbyterian 66. Moore County 72, Culleoka 62. Franklin with a 72-64 win over Nolansville. Friendship Christian defeated Portland 63-48. It was Gallatin 55, Mount Juliet 45. Good Pasture with a 62-59 win over Tennessee Heat. Lewis County defeated Hampshire 57-23. It was Fairview defeating Hickman County 43-37. Hunters Lane with a 68-58 win over Smyrna. Hunters Lane 68, Smyrna 58. Antioch down to Overton 73-52, and Lancaster Christian defeated Mount Juliet Christian 72-45.
Lawrence County took care of county rival Loretto 68-49. It was Liberty Creek 59-36 winners over Merle Hyde. Maplewood 68, White House 63. Hendersonville 71-54 winners over Nashville Christian. Pope Prep 61, Laverne 48. Providence Christian down to Columbia Academy 57-51. Riverdale 74-64 winners over Lebanon. It was Zion Christian 59, Santa Fe 55. Stewart's Creek 74-46 over Kenwood. Todd County Central Kentucky 65-27 winners over Montgomery Central. It was Middle Tennessee Christian 54, University School Nashville 47. Webb School down to Grace Franklin 69-49. White House Heritage 38-37 winners over Springfield, and Wilson Central 65, Brentwood 51.
In women's basketball action on Tuesday, Vanderbilt defeated South Carolina Upstate 74-45, and Lipscomb got an 84-66 win over Western Kentucky. In the National Hockey League, the Preds in overtime defeated the Anaheim Mighty Ducks 2-1. Today's basketball schedule at the high school level. These are both double headers, both 6 o'clock starts. Clarksville Academy is at Clarksville High School, and Hunters Lane is at East Nashville. Women's basketball action today in progress. Oakwood is at Lipscomb.
22-9 in the second quarter.
That'd be Lipscomb.
Yes, Lipscomb's winning. Sorry.
Okay. And at 6 o'clock tonight, Fisk is in Memphis taking on Lemoyne Owen. In junior college basketball action tonight, Dyersburg is at Vol State and Columbia State is at Southwest Tennessee. Both those games tip at 5:30. Tomorrow, we have a couple of matinees. 11 o'clock starts for both of these, both on ESPN Plus, as Tennessee Tech is at Middle Tennessee State in women's basketball action. And Gardner Webb is at Austin Peay. Again, both those are at 11. Both can be seen on ESPN Plus.
Men's basketball action from earlier today, Lipscomb down Navy 82-77. Tonight on CBS Sports Network, Virginia Commonwealth hosting the Vanderbilt Commodores. Middle Tennessee State goes to Stony Brook at 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus. McNeese State and Tennessee at 6:15 on the SEC Network. Western Kentucky is at Austin Peay. That's a 7 p.m. tip on ESPN Plus. Fisk men will also be at Lemoyne Owen following that women's match. Tennessee State is at St. Louis, and I didn't realize wearing the Billiken on my shirt today. Oops. 8 p.m. tip on ESPN Plus. Junior college action, both Dyersburg at Vol State and Columbia State at Southwest Tennessee will follow women's matches as well. In the NBA, the Grizzlies are at the T-Wolves. That's a 7 o'clock tip on Bally Sports South, and that is your rundown. Mo, today's top story is who to thunk it. That's what I'm going to say. And what a crazy night. What do I know?
I don't know that who to thunk it is necessarily accurate. Just from the standpoint that I think we knew it was going to happen, just didn't necessarily know when
or where.
Right.
And this particularly
blew
me away.
Yeah, I bet it did blow you away.
Because Skip Holtz was like a name that they were throwing around because he was already there in Birmingham with the Stallions, and he been at La Tech and all this, and Kevin Sumlin was a name that I had seen thrown around, and just
no.
But here's what I know. I do know that UAB had an annual salary cap of 1.98. So that probably had a little bit to do with folks like Kevin Sumlin and
Skip Holtz and a few others. Yeah. That might have hampered Bill Clark from coming back even. I don't know. If that's the case though, excuse my voice, y'all. I'm sorry. But why would you have just not stayed with the interim guy, Brian Vincent, who apparently the team was unanimously behind?
Yeah, it's an interesting thought process. I don't know what Mark Ingram's thoughts were. He's, obviously the athletic director at UAB who has made some solid hires. He's the guy that brought back Andy Kennedy, and, he's certainly earned the benefit of the doubt. And I think they're going to give it to him at UAB. But I think just a lot of folks were just so shocked by how, one, this thing unfolded quicker than Usain Bolt in a 100-meter dash. It went from at 8:20, Steve Irvine, the first person to tweet anything about it, Steve Irvine of 1819 News down in Birmingham, longtime UAB beat writer, he tweeted it at like 20 after 8 that it was real. Next thing you know, about 30 to 45 minutes later, John Bryce has got it on Football Scoop, and they're running it as it's official. And
I guess, Chris,
we
we probably need to speak to the it for those who are the uninitiated, I guess. Lipscomb Academy football coach Trent Dilfer, who is expected to coach the Mustangs as they try for their second Division II AA state championship in a row, has resigned that position to become the next coach at Alabama Birmingham.
I guess the resignation is effective tomorrow at about 2:00.
Unless they go overtime.
2:00 Central. Sorry.
Yeah.
3:00 Eastern when they kick off the second game. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. Yeah, Trent Dilfer headed to UAB. And look, he was kind of loosely associated with the Fresno State job last year before Tedford got it.
I had heard, speaking with someone at the Titans game Sunday, that if Luke Fickell had left last year, he was in the mix at Cincinnati. And so the person I was speaking to was going to check and see if he was in the mix at Cincinnati this time. And I don't know if he was, but apparently he's not.
He's no longer in the mix at this point. Does that make you feel better if you're a UAB fan? That you're not the only college who was thinking about it?
That's a good question. It is. And I'm going to fall back on former Vanderbilt coach Bobby Johnson, who made a living off recruiting kids that nobody else did, and his approach was, it doesn't matter who else is recruiting him. If we like him, that's all that matters. I don't know that it should make UAB feel any better that someone else was considering or discussing him or anything like that. They got to be secure in their decision. So
Joe Goodman of AL.com had a great column today, basically pumping. He pumped it up, and Joe is certainly known to not be exactly UAB sunshine pumper. So
or anybody else's.
And one of the things that kind of struck me was, he was really saying, look, this is an opportunity to kind of change to get out of necessarily the return to just being UAB. Instead of, the Bill Clark era, you've kind of got a new chapter in the UAB saga. Now, here's the thing.
You've got a new chapter. You've got a new facility that you're playing in. You're getting ready to move to a new conference. I mean, it's certainly an out of the box thing. I just think that, you could have gotten out of the Bill Clark era with an established college football coach.
Perhaps. My thing is, the only era of the program that's ever been consistently successful is the Bill Clark era. So I'm not sure why you want to go in a different direction.
How far do you want to get away from it? Yeah. I mean, you got to be careful with that different direction, man.
Because sometimes it's not the way you want to go. But yeah, and here's the thing. Now Lipscomb Academy's got an opening, but they're not the only one, because both Brentwood Academy and Gallatin also have openings within the last 24 hours.
Okay, now here's the deal. With all due respect to the Green Wave, this is one of those things is not like the others type thing. I don't think Lipscomb, Brentwood, and Gallatin are all swimming in the same pool.
I don't necessarily think they're swimming in the same pool, but you're talking about one of the most storied programs in public high school football history of the state of Tennessee.
You ain't got to tell me.
But I get it. I understand
that storied in that history is a bit aged as well. And if you're a Gallatin football fan, you're watching one of your county rivals getting ready to play for a state championship here in another couple of days.
I get that. I really do, trust me. But you got to think that, you're still Gallatin and folks want that job. Now it's not going to be the same people, because face it, you can't offer a football only position to a coach.
Right.
Not in this economy. So
well played.
So yeah, it's rough, man. It's going to be tough for both of these schools, because like I told you last night, I feel like Lipscomb Academy's got to make a splash higher, because Trent Dilfer, you're talking about not only the facility upgrades, they got a barber shop in the facility. Like, come on, man. You've got to find somebody who can make moves that Dilfer made financially. And I'm going to tell you that his ability to fundraise is a major reason why he's at Alabama Birmingham today.
Elaborate.
If I'm Trent Dilfer and I say, listen, you got a program that has always struggled to raise funds. Here's what I did at the high school level. What do you think I can do in Birmingham? And his fundraising ability, whether he's able to pull through or not, I think was a factor in why Mark Ingram said, this is our guy.
I think that when you start talking about Trent Dilfer's fundraising ability at Lipscomb Academy, I think that you start getting into some speculation, and I'm really hesitant to do that, honestly, because I just don't know enough about the situation. But I would be willing to. I would certainly think that some of his fundraising ability was related to some of his relationships from his professional football playing days. And I just don't know how well those relationships carry over at a group of 5 football institution.
Well, as I said, whether or not he's able to pull through or not remains to be seen, but I definitely think it was on his resume. And
yes.
And UAB needs fund. They need funds. They need fundraising. They always have, because the board of the UABOT ain't giving it to them.
Let me ask you this, Chris. In Birmingham, Alabama, who is Trent Dilfer?
Probably the guy who won the Super Bowl with the Ravens. Like, they don't know. I mean, they know the name. Everybody. It's not like they just are oblivious to the NFL.
No, I don't expect them to be oblivious to the NFL. I mean, if that's the direction you're going in, heck, why not just hire Greg McElroy?
Well, at least Dilfer has some sort of coaching experience, whether it's high school or not. But yeah, I understand your point. I don't think this is a ticket sales hire. I think it's a corporate sponsors. I think it's a guy who's going to bring you a quarterback, something you've not had since Darrell Hackney in 2004.
Okay. There's that position.
And well, they only returned the nation's leading rusher. So there's another. Okay. They have one of the best defenses in the league. And talent-wise, I don't know what their roster looks like as far as seniors. Can he recruit? We'll find out. We know he can at the high school level.
And I think his current school for another 24 hours is going to find that out as well.
How much of the Elite 11 played into it?
I don't know. I don't know. I would love to know, who else they were considering, how much that 1.98 played into the situation. Did that take them out of the running with some folks? How far up the pecking order was he? That kind of, and some of that stuff we're probably never going to know.
As quickly as this moved, the timing is a little interesting in relation to when Georgia Tech announced Brent Key. Because, that was the name that I kept throwing out there.
Yeah.
Is because, Birmingham native would have been a great first job, but then his job just hired him so that he kept the job he had.
Right.
And it almost immediately, this is what happens. So I think he was probably top 3. I don't know. And Brian Vincent's probably the other. So anyway, let's take a break because NUBYJAS Wilborn has joined. And so we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk Hugh Freeze at Auburn. That should be fun. So stick around here. Main Street Sports Days presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Be back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck, yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Chris Yao and Mo Patton here on this wild and wacky Wednesday, and it is now, Mo, seems like old news, but it's still pretty crazy that we are talking about Hugh Freeze becoming a head football coach in the Southeastern Conference in the year 2022. And when you're talking about Auburn, there's nobody else that we would want to talk to than our friend NUBYJAS WILBORN from AL.com. NUBYJAS, what is going on, buddy? Oh, he's muted.
Oh.
Muted. Now we
There he is.
There he is.
Yep. All right. Yeah, well, yeah, guys. It's another beautiful day in the neighborhood, boys.
Yeah.
Just another beautiful day. Very beautiful, quiet day in the Auburn neighborhood, friends.
NUBYJAS, do you get combat pay for covering Auburn?
Well, I need to actually put that in my next contract. There, I have to talk to see if I can get Jimmy Sexton to be my agent and negotiate some things.
Man, and here's the thing: you got a coach, but what changes?
A lot. I mean, it's nothing. Who knows? I mean, look, man. Hugh Freeze and it's a tough one, right? Because we know all the dirt. Okay. I mean, my publication wrote a timeline of all of his dirt, and it's out there. It's very real. Okay. But the man also can coach football, and Auburn has made what I call a bad guy hire. Okay. Not that he's a bad guy, but this move clearly is going to be upsetting to people. Okay. I mean, you cannot get around it. You cannot hide from it. When you look at the latest incident with the DMs to that young lady. Now, if you look at the whole situation, it's a possibility that you could believe that he was trying to offer an olive branch to that woman, okay? However, messaging her at all is a very, very poor choice to do, okay? And this happened within the last 12 months, okay? So this isn't people talking about the Ole Miss stuff. Now, personally, I don't care if you hired a sex worker or not, or who we got her for. That's not my business. I think sex work is work. Okay, it's literally the world's oldest profession. Okay, and people can do what they want to do with their money if it's consensual between adults and they agree upon it. All right, I don't care about that. I do care that he lied to his players and to staff, and the whole thing ended up in a very ugly lawsuit. Okay, and then he went to Liberty with Jerry Falwell Jr. and you go look up some Jerry Falwell Jr. and you find some things, okay? So,
you do.
You find some things, all right? It's real, okay? So I say all that to say, Auburn decided to look at all this that comes with Hugh Freeze and say, we want some of that. Come on, bring it on over here down to the Plains.
Listen, but Auburn is, and I'm not using this word to its extreme, but it's a cult. It's a cultish. And when you are in the Auburn family, as they like to call it, you get some rehabilitation, you get some love, you get some affection, you get the Bruce Pearl treatment.
It's a family like the Game of Thrones family, man.
It is. But there's two sides to it. You're going to get some of the love and appreciation, and you're going to get a little protection as long as you're doing what you need to be doing.
Winning.
And Bruce Pearl's winning. That's why it works.
I mean, here's the thing, right?
Whoa. Stop. Can we really compare Bruce Pearl and this guy? Is that a fair comparison?
Well, I guess it would depend on what you're making the comparison based on. If you're just looking at two guys who, I mean, Bruce Pearl had 3 years of show cause, okay? 3 years now.
One lie.
Show me a coach that's had 3 years of show cause penalty.
There aren't many out there.
Exactly. Yeah, and there really are. And you could go look throughout the annals. There aren't many that had 3 years of show cause. All right. Now, that being said, I think Bruce Pearl's transgressions are a little different than Hugh Freeze's, okay?
That's
all right. And I don't know if it's fair to compare their transgressions. What you can compare is the fact that both of them needed a little bit of rehabilitation to make it work. And I will give Bruce Pearl credit for this. Now, if you get to looking at his Twitter timeline a little bit, you might not agree with some of the things that he says or is allowed to put out there. But I'll tell you what, I haven't heard any complaints from the Auburn fan base.
And at least he has a Twitter account.
I was going to say he has access to his Twitter account.
Well, now I will say this. Now, Hugh Freeze did deny that, okay? He did deny that he was not allowed to be on the Twitter anymore. But the difference
but he hadn't tweeted.
Well, but here's the thing, though. Bruce Pearl tweets his stuff publicly. Hugh Freeze DMs 20-year-old girls, okay? Or at least did in that particular instance, all right? A girl who, now, if you believe people that allegedly Hugh Freeze did not know that this woman was part of a lawsuit against the university, okay? Hugh Freeze allegedly believed that sending a DM is the equivalent of sending an email. Hey, man, look, I'm just saying what was said. I ain't saying whether I agree with it or not. I'm just saying it
does have the same icon.
I mean, you have to hit send. I mean, hey, man, look, dog. Like, y'all looking at me like I came up with this stuff. I'm just telling you what was said. I'm just saying he believed it. Now it has since been explained to him that as a 50-plus-year-old man, it does look a little suspect, if you will, that he would be engaging in any kind of contact with his woman, particularly within the Twitter DMs. Sliding into DMs is a little different from emailing someone. Now, he will say he was taken up for his program, that he now realizes that he should not have did that. And again, this thing was just, 8 months ago? So, I mean, you have to ask yourself, is a person who would do that the type of person I want to lead my college football program?
Jimmy Rain said, absolutely.
Sign me up for it. I want it all. Yes. And look, it might work. I don't know. And this is very difficult, okay? Because sexual assault is a very real thing, and it's not something that should be taken lightly, particularly on these college campuses where we have seen time after time stories of cover-ups and these things, and this woman appears to have been tweeting about it, and apparently Hugh Freeze felt the way. Now, I will also tell you this. he seems to care what people think about him. And he's at
You're
Auburn.
not the first person I've heard say that.
Right. And listen, and he's at Auburn, a place where historically the fans don't really give their opinions very often.
And they don't care what people think.
And
about
the fans don't care at all. Auburn fans, they're not really very opinionated. So that should be very fine for him, right?
Here's my question. As we speak with NUBYJAS WILBORN of AL.com here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. NUBYJAS, John Cohen comes from Mississippi State, replaces Alan Green. Saw what happened to Alan Green in the aftermath of hiring Brian Harsin, who Jimmy Rain didn't want. How much does that whole situation play into where we're at right now?
I mean, you would have to think it does, right? Because I was told that the Rain family was on board with this, okay? All right, that was on board with Hugh. And I was also told Jimmy wanted Hugh last time, or he was one of the people that Jimmy wanted, okay? There's also still people who believe Jimmy also wanted Kevin Steele. I also believe Jimmy Rain probably was basically ABH, anybody but Harsin. All right, so there's also that part. And so maybe the anybody but Harsin works, but let's be real. None of it matters, because if they don't win, John Cohen's gonna get fired anyway. I mean, and again, look, I don't root for one way or the other. It ain't my money. I'm not an Auburn alum. I'm also not an Auburn hater. I'm just a sports writer who writes about Auburn. Okay, so it ain't emotional for me. I just tell you what happens. And what I can see is Auburn looked at Hugh Freeze, and one of the things that kind of stuck out to me was a statistic was passed to me about how Hugh Freeze, when he has a less talented team, wins more than pretty much any other coach in the country, or he's in the top percentile of coaches at winning games when his team has less talent. Obviously you look at his coaching record just as in counting stats is one thing, but they hired 2 analytics firms to go through and pick, and they determined that Hugh Freeze was the best coach that was available to them, and that's why they made the hire, okay? They made the hire strictly based on numbers, statistics, things of that nature. Now, if that's what you want to do, you want to base it on that, fine. But this is still college sports, right? There should be some morals in it. But apparently Auburn has decided that they were satisfied with Hugh Freeze's answers about why he DM'd that woman. They felt good enough about it to make them their head coach. I mean, good luck with that.
That's the bottom line, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, and it's kind of what I'd said last night in the Facebook group and talking about UAB and Trent Dilfer is it's done. What are you going to do now? You have to make a decision. And there are a lot of Auburn fans who have made a decision, and their decision is I'm not supporting this program, and as long as he's the head coach.
Okay. All right, cool. And hey, listen, and if they're serious, then the stadium won't be full.
And that'll be a problem.
But it will be full. I mean, because let's also be real. I mean, come on, man. Let's stop playing this game. I mean, I get it, and there are going to be people who are going to be mad, and people who going to talk mess. But I guarantee you, when that ball kicks off, whatever the first guy, I'm not looking at the schedule yet, and I'm pretty sure when they take that trip to Cal, it's going to be a whole bunch of Auburn fans over there, okay? Which also, that's going to be another interesting thing, because Cal tends to be very liberal. I can't imagine what that's going to look like, but we'll get there. Geez, sooner than later.
They also play New Mexico State ahead of the Iron Bowl next year, and he just kind of took an L from them. So
yeah, he might remember that. Okay, remember the Aggies or whatever. Yeah. So I mean, look, man, guys, you guys have been doing this a long time, and I've been doing it for a couple of years. And hey, man, this is what it is, man. College football is $1 billion industry, baby. And Auburn's trying to win football games, dog. They tired of losing to Alabama. They're tired of losing to Georgia. I mean, you look at it, Auburn hadn't beaten Georgia in Athens in 15 years. They hadn't beaten Alabama in Tuscaloosa since 2010. And Auburn is used to being able to go into those places and win games. And they hadn't been able to do it. And LSU was at the championship game, albeit they took an L against Texas A&M, but Brian Kelly going to get that thing rolling. Jimbo Fisher's going to get something figured out at Texas A&M, and they're going to figure it out for him. The Mississippi schools are good, okay? Arkansas is good, is a good program. And you look over in the West, and then, by the way, Texas and Oklahoma are coming. Baby, Auburn's desperate, okay? And I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying what it is. This is the hire you make because this is the best coach you can get, and this is what you're going to do, and you will deal with the warts, okay? Will it work? I don't know, but this is what they did. Now, to me personally, they could have kept Caddy and they don't do all this, but they didn't feel Coach Cadillac had enough experience, things of that nature. But I will also tell you this, Moby, hey, man, in my career, I've had plenty of times where someone told me I didn't have enough experience, and then somehow someone with less experience than me got hired because somebody had a feeling about it.
Hey, wonder how that happened.
I just wonder. I can't imagine how.
Things that make you go,
So I mean, but these are real things. And so I say all this to say, guys, is look, man, this ain't a pretty hire, okay? I thought he was fine in the press conference for what it was. We also, some of us had an off-record conversation with the athletic director. He didn't take questions. He gave a statement. He didn't take questions, but he talked to us off-record. And, I had to be careful what I share from that. But I will say I gained more of an understanding when it comes to analytically why they hired this man, okay? If it was just about statistics and analytics, Hugh Freeze probably is the right hire based upon what was out there, okay? And I think he's a better fit at Auburn than Lane Kiffin would have been. Let's be real. Lane Kiffin ain't doing no Tiger Talk shows. He ain't signing no autographs. He's not like if they do has a weekly radio show. Lane Kiffin's not doing that. If he does, he's not going to stay around.
NUBYJAS, so you mentioned that because I thought it was interesting. They talked about it on the next round. I'm sure you're familiar, but how Lane Kiffin, I guess 2 years ago, he lit the Oxford Christmas tree or whatever, and then didn't even respond to requests to come back this year. And yeah, that's a Lane Kiffin thing, right? You're exactly right. And someone said that Lane Kiffin is not going to do that kind of stuff. Hugh Freeze will come to every Auburn fan's house and light their Christmas tree if he wants them to.
Yeah, well, I say this: if they give enough NIL money, he might. Okay,
but I mean, that's the kind of coach he is. That's the kind of guy that you're getting. That's the guy who's going to do those type things, and those are part of the Auburn mentality.
Listen, he will go to dinner. He will go to dinner at Hamilton's. He'll go to the stuff that Brian Harsin wouldn't do. Like Hugh Freeze will go 100%. Shop. He'll go buy his groceries at Publix. He'll let you see him. Okay,
that's right.
He'll go to the spots where the Auburn people hang out and let the coach see him. He'll sit in the booth that Pat Dye sat in at certain places. Okay, like he'll go to breakfast at Chappie's. He will do those things. Now again, does that stuff really matter?
Well, it does to Auburn.
It matters to Auburn. It does to Auburn. It matters.
But my question is, could you not have found another coach who would do those things?
Hey, you know who would have done it?
Cadillac.
Cadillac
would the thing is, Cadillac knows where those places are.
He knows where it's at. He knows where to go.
And that's one reason he hired him, right?
Yeah.
You got to keep Cadillac
on staff. I mean, he had to. Now we will see. They've already let Rock Bellatoni go off the staff. They already they'll probably let some other people go. I think Jeff Smetting will probably be parted ways with the defensive coordinator. So it'll be interesting to see which coaches he keeps, who he brings from Liberty. But no, I mean, look, I can understand why you don't hire Caddy. I also feel like, hey man, why not give a brother a chance?
I did, and this may have been my favorite line from all the coaching carousel. Auburn is the only place where you can try to fire someone by making up affair allegations and then hire someone who publicly admitted to having an affair.
I mean,
I'm just saying that's Auburn. That is Auburn in a nutshell, right there. We're gonna do what we're gonna do.
Listen, guys. I mean, I don't know what to say to that because it's true.
What
I wish it
we're
wasn't
gonna
true.
do, what we're gonna do. Whatever you think be damned. We're Auburn. We're gonna be Auburn. We're gonna do what we're gonna do because that's who we are. And here's the thing: they really don't have any expectations to live up to outside of Auburn.
But their expectations of themselves.
No, I
are huge.
understand.
And here's the thing, and they also, and this is the thing that really does concern me about this. Auburn wants people to like them. Okay. I mean,
well, they screwed this up then.
Well, I mean, but that's the other part of it, right? Like, okay,
Yeah.
hiring. I look at this. This is like an Oakland Raiders type hire. You know what I'm saying? Where we don't care what y'all think. We're gonna hire who we think is best. If you like it, cool. If you don't, cool. Auburn, on the other hand, is making that type of hire, but no, he's really a nice guy. He's gonna go to church and he's gonna do all these. So, like, they want you to also like him. And here's the thing: he cares about what people think about him. Okay, and that combination is dangerous because him caring what people think is part of why he DM'd that woman. Okay, trying to feel like he can convince her, which again. Now, if you believe him, he didn't know that woman was in on the lawsuit, okay?
Despite her bio on Twitter saying Jane Doe 7.
Hey, man, I'm just saying. Hey, man.
Look, I just want to get that information out there to our viewers.
I'm just saying, maybe it wasn't on there that day when he messaged her. I don't.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just saying, listen, I mean, look, man, it don't feel good, okay? Anybody with a logical brain would tell you, hey, man. I mean, and even people who have tried to be like, well, NUBYJAS, look, man, he thought it was like emailing. It's like, really? Okay. All right, fine. I'll buy that for $1. Well, he didn't know she was part of the lawsuit. Well, I mean, it's in her bio. I mean, it's so. Look, man, they did what they wanted to do. And I don't know if it's going to work because you never know if it's going to work with any coach. You don't know. However, if you're going to hire a coach and you don't know it's going to work, why do you want one with this much baggage?
Because he's beaten Nick Saban twice, NUBYJAS, and that's all that matters.
I mean, that's fine if that's what you want to do, but understand, like, hey, there are members of your fan base who are upset, and they should be. They should be. Now, I will say some of the information that's been out has been a little bit inaccurate, but again, there are things that go back with this man to when he was a high school coach down there in Memphis. Okay. Yep. The allegations that allegedly he asked those women to pull up their shirt when, you know what I'm saying, in front of them. Okay. Like that stuff. Now, again, whether that stuff's true or not, I don't know. I wouldn't dare. I'm just saying what's documented. Like, dude, we literally wrote a timeline of this man's transgressions over the years. Okay. And then he says, well, we forgive. And then they say, well, we've forgiven him for his transgressions, but you didn't name him. So which ones are you talking about?
Mm-hmm. Which ones have you forgiven him
for? It was a blanket, we forgive you.
But hey, and listen, if they next year win 8 or 9 games and you give Alabama a scared Iron Bowl, then hey, it might have worked. I don't know.
And everything is forgiven.
Everything is forgiven. But baby, if it gets ugly, and let's be honest, Auburn is going to have to kill it in that portal. They don't have very many offensive linemen coming back off an offensive line that left a lot to be desired, if you will. Okay.
Listen, when it comes to playing football, it's, you know, in the SEC each and every week, it's going to be a battle. And you've got a quarterback who's still finding his way, potentially if he is their starting quarterback next year. Obviously showed some improvement as the year went on, but you're right. I mean, since Bo Nix arrived, the offensive line has just been not very good. And that was obvious for the last 4 years. And you got to win football games in the trenches. So he's got a lot of work to do, both in the transfer portal or on signing day. And he's got 24 days to do it. When is signing day? The 27th or something?
It's earlier than that.
It's earlier than that. Yeah, I can't remember the exact day.
Like the 21st, 22nd, 23rd.
Okay, so it's before.
Yeah, it's coming though.
So it's
Jeez.
before Christmas. He's got a
Yes.
lot of work to do. We'll see if he gets it done. But
Bless
NUBYJAS
his heart.
WILBORN of AL.com. Good luck to him. Good luck to you. I'll tell you, somebody said this about Trent Dilfer in the UAB group, and I'm going to say it about Hugh Freeze. It's a gamble. Yes. That's one thing it is definitely going to be.
Mhm.
One thing it is definitely not going to be is boring. So enjoy.
Man, look, I'm gonna keep y'all in my prayers to keep you in yours. But there's gonna be some it's gonna be some times, man. He's got to hire a staff. It's gonna be a lot, man. So we out here.
NUBYJAS, I'm just going to tell you as we go to break, NUBYJAS WILBORN of AL.com joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. NUBYJAS, get in, sit down, shut up, and hang on.
Yep.
It's gonna be fun. We appreciate it, man.
Thank y'all, man. Y'all boys be easy.
We are going to take a quick break here. College football playoff committee. What happened last night? We'll get some thoughts right after this. Stick around. This is Chris Yao with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. AP Tennessee sports editor, three-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year 2020 TSSAA Hall of Famer. She covers the Titans, the Predators, the Grizzlies, college football, and hoops. Please make welcome Teresa Walker.
Former University of Tennessee, former Team USA Olympian, ex-Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. R.A., did I miss anything?
Man, that was sweet. Yeah, I need to listen to that before I go to bed every night. That was nice.
Has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham, Ryan McGee.
The other guy in Wham married the best looking girl, Bananarama. So the other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
From preps to pros, we're taking on the sports topics you care about. Tune in across Main Street Media social platforms at 2 p.m. or on demand on your podcast distribution platform of choice. Welcome back in. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We take a look now at the college football playoff rankings here on this Wild and Wacky Wednesday, and you take a look there at the top 4, Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and USC. No surprises there, you would think, Mo.
It's pretty straightforward.
Makes a lot of sense.
It does.
What has to happen to TCU for them to not be in the playoff regardless?
Oh, I think a loss in TCU is done.
At all? Even if it's
Yes.
a touchdown?
I think a loss. I think they're waiting. I think they've been waiting for TCU to get beat.
I don't know,
And I
man.
think that's why Ohio State is sitting there at 5. I think any loss in TCU is done. I think a 1-point loss in TCU is done.
I don't think so. I think they're going to have to get beat by 14 or more. And mainly because Ohio State is number 5. And especially if USC loses. If USC loses, I think TCU is definitely in. And Ohio State is in. Now, Ohio State, I said Alabama had a chance. And they did until they didn't. I do think it's interesting, though, that, if TCU were to get beat by, say, 21, just get dominated from kick to zeros, and USC loses again to Utah, boy, you throw Ohio State at 3, Alabama at 4, and you've got a heck of a playoff there, huh?
Now, here's the thing. You're assuming that both Georgia and Michigan win.
I don't think there's anything those two can do.
If Michigan loses, who are they playing? Purdue?
That's correct.
If Purdue, which is unranked?
Unranked Purdue.
If Michigan loses to Purdue, and I don't expect them to, but I think if Michigan loses to an unranked Purdue, they have to be out.
I don't know. I don't think the committee. I don't know. I don't think the committee.
Purdue.
I don't care what I think about the committee. This committee has zero credibility. So what the hell ever they do on Tuesday after
Who knows?
Who knows? Because this committee has zero credibility.
Well, they have zero credibility because they've not followed their own criteria.
Exactly. If you want me to believe that you have done your best to get the top 4, you got to get the rest of it right too.
Yep.
And you're going to sit here and tell me that 13, 14, 15, 16 doesn't matter? You're going to tell me that you've got 4 teams in a row that each played each other and the head-to-head winner is ahead in both of those instances? But that doesn't
But
count.
then you come up here to
7?
6 and 7, and all of a sudden head-to-head doesn't matter.
Oh, by the way, in case anyone's wondering, number 10 Kansas State lost to number 18 Tulane with the same record. This is manipulation of the rankings.
We've talked about the manipulation of the rankings from the first one.
It's ridiculous. I mean, ranking LSU at 9 in the first ranking was insane. I mean, it turned out to be okay because they beat Alabama the next week.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they really came out smelling like a rose on that one.
They did,
but
until Texas A&M. But I have a list, and I'm going to go down this list.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you've heard these. These are the reasons Tennessee has to be ahead of Alabama. Number 1, by every metric the committee put on their website, every single metric favors Tennessee, right? Strength of schedule, head-to-head, all of these things that they have on their website favors Tennessee. The biggest argument is what? Why is Tennessee 7 and not 6, Mo?
You're going to tell me helmet bias. I mean,
No. What is the biggest argument that you see out there in the world?
Oh, the biggest argument is obviously Tennessee getting drilled by South Carolina in Columbia, 63-38.
Okay, on the committee's website, it says that common opponents without using margin of victory. If margin of victory doesn't matter, then neither can margin of defeat.
So you can't.
Because when Oregon lost to Georgia, lost to Georgia by 43, it was a loss is a loss. But that's not what we're talking about now?
No.
Okay, so the second biggest argument is that Hendon Hooker's hurt. Every single week, Boo Corrigan walks into whatever booth they've got him in, puts his face on television and looks into the camera and tells Reese Davis, "You're asking me to project, and we don't do that." That's a lie.
Until they do.
If Carl Dell Jones and Tua Tagovailoa didn't exist, I could maybe buy that argument a little bit better. But Carl Dell Jones beat the absolute dog crap out of Alabama in 2014. Backup quarterback, by the way, for those of you who don't understand what I'm getting at. Tennessee, look at number 19 and 20. Tennessee's worst loss is ranked ahead of Alabama's best win.
That's good. That's good.
Hashtag trash can juice.
One word.
this committee has no credibility.
Yep.
Tennessee dropped 5 spots, losing to South Carolina. Clemson dropped 1. By the way, Penn State, number 8. Good for Penn State. You know how many teams Penn State has beaten this year that are ranked at any point of the year?
0.
Zilch, nada. Utah lost to Florida.
Unranked. Florida.
Washington is getting screwed, by the way.
And I want to go back just a second to this Tennessee, Clemson, South Carolina situation, because Tennessee lost to South Carolina in Columbia. Clemson lost to South Carolina, and they rubbed Howard's rock on the way down, and it ain't because it moved.
And it doesn't make any sense. South Carolina is probably not the 19th best team in the country, but they've got the wins to prove it. And here's the thing. If wins have to matter more than losses, and once wins don't matter as much as losses, the regular season schedule becomes trash.
Yeah. Yeah. And who you beat has to mean something. And like you said, again, if there were no divisions, Tennessee would be playing for an SEC championship.
And they'd be number 5 today.
So.
They'd be number 5. And should be number 5 anyway, Mo. Because again, Ohio State has beaten 0 teams of note. Penn State has lost 2 games, both against the only 2 decent teams they played. That's not a good win. The Notre Dame team that they beat is not the 21st ranked Notre Dame. They beat the Notre Dame that lost to Stanford and Marshall. That's a different team today than it was back then when they've beaten nobody.
And to your point about the committee, it's interesting when they consider the fact that this team is better now than it was then, and when it doesn't matter. Their credibility is definitely on life support.
Boo. Here's the thing. This is the final thing because we got to get to Chip, and I want to get there. But I'm tired, and I'm no longer going to believe that my leg is wet because it's raining. So Boo Corrigan can go on television and say anything he wants, whatever he wants to say, but just know
I don't
that
have
95% of it is bull crap.
Yep.
That's the fact.
Yep.
And we've said it from the beginning of this, Mo. We said it last year. We've said it every year. I don't care how you do your rankings as long as you tell me why and you have a reason for it, and you can come on television and you can give me a consistent
from week to week
reason for each ranking.
Yep.
If head-to-head matters in Florida State, LSU, Oregon State, Oregon, it's got to matter with Alabama, Tennessee. Period. It has to matter.
And if it doesn't, then tell me that.
Say that. Say that.
Because,
we just
Alabama. Because you have to retain any degree of credibility. Just tell me. We don't care.
And fact is they haven't, and therefore they have none.
Yep.
Let's take a break. Chip Walters is standing by. We'll talk Middle Tennessee State athletics. It was a great, like I said, great weekend for the Blue Raiders across several sports, and we'll get to it right after this on Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Barn and Joint. Stick around.
This holiday season, the largest lantern event in the country returns to Nashville Zoo. After sunset, come see more than 1,000 Chinese lanterns, All new designs, including mythical beasts, a fantastical North Pole village, even a dragon soaring over your head. Welcome back to Zoo Illumination at Nashville Zoo. Bigger, brighter, and better than ever.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. I'm Chris Yao. He's Mo Patton. And yes, Yao is fired up. Chip Walters joins us now here on the show. And boy, I haven't been holding it in. I tweeted all of that last night sporadically until Trent Dilfer decided to upend the entire news cycle. But
as you said, you didn't have that on your bingo card, huh?
Did not have that on my bingo card. But hey, 2022 has thrown some curveballs this year. I've been sitting on fastballs and didn't catch the break out of his hand.
Well, interesting hires all across Alabama.
No, aren't they? they're just throwing them out there these days, man. Hey, it started with Rich Rod, and next thing you know, here we go.
Exactly.
Oh man, it was a good weekend for Middle Tennessee State athletics, I thought.
Wow. Yeah. And I actually happened to run into Coach Insel at lunchtime today, and he said, dadgummit, they should have beaten. He said, and his words that they should have beaten Texas Tech and in the first game in Las Vegas, because they figured going in, they just from what initial scouting they had done was that Missouri State would have probably been the stronger of the two. But they end up winning over Missouri State by 25, lose a game that they led for 37 minutes and lose in the last 3 minutes to Texas Tech. But, they played well out there, got into, facing competition, the type of competition they could see in the postseason. And then the guys, speaking of Missouri State, after not playing well at all there, bounced back and really played well, knocking off Hofstra, then who is a really good team. Stephen F. Austin, who beat Middle a year ago in Texas, and then came back in a great game Sunday afternoon. Got the win in the third game of the event, and now we'll tip off tonight at 6:00 at St. Bonaventure. So trying to get 4 wins while being away from home on this trip. But and then you add in just one of the craziest football games I've ever had to call. And it was quite a weekend.
Take us through some of that craziness, Chip.
Well, going to FIU, as we talked last week, Mike McIntyre is the new head coach there, and he has gotten them a lot better. But Middle jumped out playing really well, led 20-0, 27-7, then trailed 28-27. Then with 3 minutes to play, got a pick six from Jacoby Thomas that put Middle up 33-28 because they did go for 2 to try to make it 7 instead of a 6-point lead. So up 33-28, they get the ball back and they're playing a freshman quarterback who didn't get that job until recently. And he has, at this point, with about a minute to go, has thrown for over 400 yards. And they have it 4th and 10 at Middle's 22-yard line. And guess what? Jacoby Thomas intercepts again. And he was named Conference USA Player of the Week. The interesting thing is the first 2 drives FIU had, DeCorian Patterson made interceptions. The last 2 drives FIU had, Jacoby Thomas had interceptions. So he threw for 414 yards, but had 4 interceptions. Chase Cunningham had a good day. Middle rushed it pretty well, and hang on and survive. Crazy things happen in games in Miami, and the best part was for Middle got their 7th win, really cemented their spot in the bowl picking, and actually, obviously, on Monday we found out that the destination was going to be Hawaii.
Destination is Hawaii. The opponent is San Diego State, and fortunately, Marshall Faulk won't be walking through that door for the Aztecs.
That is, I think that was part of the questioning before the acceptance was made. Is Marshall Faulk back? No, but they're 7-5 as well, so it's a pretty good matchup. And it's interesting the machinations of how these things come down. And Lee DeLeon, the deputy AD, was on my Wednesday morning show today and for a few minutes and talked about the process of how it all went down. And that Middle 2 or 3, 4 weeks ago, once teams started they were having weekly conference calls or Zoom calls with the conference office with teams that were potentially going to be bowl eligible, and Middle had put in their request for a Florida destination if possible. And so
we see how that worked.
Yeah. Well, and there was, hope that either a Florida destination or one of the Alabama destinations or Myrtle Beach. But so as it came down from what, and this is Lee DeLeon telling me this morning, was that had UTEP held their lead and won at UTSA instead of UTSA storming back and kicking a field goal to win at the buzzer, UTEP would have gone to Hawaii. Also, the next thing was that because I think if I'm correct, the bowl they were one short on 6-win teams this year, so there's 1, 5, and 7 that's going to get to go. Well, Rice is the number 1 selection at 5 and 7 because they do all of that due to APR or some sort of academic standards. Well, Rice of all the 5-win teams, Rice will be the first pick. So Conference USA offered Rice up to him. ESPN said no, that they thought it would be a better matchup for television to have 2 7 and 5 teams, and so that's how Middle ended up in Hawaii. So there you go.
I mean, you're not wrong, but also,
it's tough on fans.
Yeah,
but it's a great trip for players, and it worked out because there's no player on this year's team that went in 2016, so it's a whole new crew that will get to experience that. We've in the last 6 bowl games, 4 of them have been off the mainland, and I think Middle is saying, hey, give our fans a break and give them a destination that'll be easy to get to. It just didn't work out this year.
That is unfortunate. And UAB gets to cruise to their bowl. All of their fans, they just get on a cruise and go.
Is that what they're going to do?
Seriously, there's a cruise that's available that you
out of Mobile.
Out of Fort Canaveral. Out of Fort Lauderdale, right there.
But if you get off the ship in Nassau at 10 o'clock in the morning and you reboard at 6 and the game is at like 11.
Yeah.
So it's like, how perfect is that?
Yeah.
That's unfortunate that it's not Middle, but yeah. Outside of that, though, Chip, it was a pretty good year, and you got to be happy. Just going to a bowl is a huge deal for practice and everything else that goes with it.
Yeah, and and all the people there's too many bowls. Well, I'm not sure what skin off your nose it is for saying that, or you can always turn the channel if that's the way you feel. But I promise you, having been fortunate enough to go to a lot of bowls with middle, it means a heck of a lot to those players and the fan base and the coaching staff for sure. And so, there are a whole lot more than there used to be, but there are a lot more Division 1A teams than there used to be. And you think about this year's group, the schedule they had to play, they had to go on the road 7 times out of 12 and picked up 7 wins. Would have loved to, and you got to think, had Chase Cunningham stayed healthy, that you had a great shot to win at Louisiana Tech and one that just got away. So, you very well could have had 8 wins right there. An improvement over a year ago for sure, and a team that I think is really deserving of their postseason fortunes because of a lot of things that they've gone through this year. And they'll go over and enjoy it, and they'll be ready to play.
Before we get off of football, I did want to mention, I mentioned this, Monday, Mo? Alumnus Reed Blankenship out here making waves on Sunday Night Football.
Wow. Great. To me, you're really tickled for him, but over the next 24, 36 hours, the pub that came out of that, and the, right on the game, Chris Collinsworth talked about what a great play he made. Mike Tirico followed that up, talking about Scott Schaefer, because I remember when we went up to Syracuse a few years ago, Tirico came to the hotel to see Schaefer. And,
oh, wow.
And
so were they there at the same time then?
I don't know about that. I just know Tirico's he's a very active alum. Mm-hmm. And of course, Schaefer had been the DC there and also the head coach. And so I think that's where that relationship came from. Mm-hmm. But, Brian Baldinger puts out some really interesting tweets, and he had one that was a complete breakdown of the play and really, talking about what a cerebral player he was and how well he was coached. And, and the coach at Philadelphia was talking about, hey, that, when there are 2 guys on the Indy staff that had been at middle, and, they were telling me, if we're looking for a safety, here's the guy you need to go get. And sure enough, it all worked out. And the thing is, and I know we say this a lot, but Reed Blankenship is just a heck of a good guy. And for him to, not get drafted, go as a free agent, put the work in, and when his opportunity came, he didn't just open the door, he kicked it open. And here he is. He's going to get to start this week.
That's awesome for him. I'll tell you, I did not realize he was in Philly.
Yeah. He was, he signed as a free agent. He's been there, was on the practice squad for a bit, and then there was an injury, and he got called up to the 53-man roster, and there you go.
They found out he's a gamer.
They found out he is absolutely a gamer, and I promise you, if you talk about practice squad guys, and coaches always talk about, we need to get a good look of how the other team. I promise you, Reed is one of the better guys of giving them a look defensively, that he can go watch film and say, yeah, I can mimic that safety right there, or whatever it might be. But the pride of West Limestone down in Athens, Alabama, and of course, Blue Raider country, really proud of that guy.
Absolutely. Chip Walters, the voice of the Blue Raiders, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Obviously, Chip, football is off for a little bit until that Hawaii Bowl on Christmas Eve. What's coming up on the hardwood?
Well, tonight, as I mentioned, Middle takes on St. Bonaventure, who is fresh off of a win over Notre Dame. The Bonnies are 4-2, Middle 5-2. Our coaching staff really talks about how Mark Schmidt, the head coach at St. Bonaventure, he's won almost 600 games. He's a heck of a, they say he's one of the best offensive coaches out there. They will be a really tough guard. And for Middle, tonight, the one thing they've not done yet this year is win on an opposing floor. They've won on a neutral floor, but they're 0-2 in true road games. It'll be tough tonight, but it's a chance to get one. Then they come home, play again on Saturday. Well, the women play tomorrow, play Tech at 11 a.m. For Education Day, and that'll be a return home for several on that staff that have middle ties, including Kim Roseman. And then on Saturday, the Blue Raiders will be back home against Maryville College. Chris will be happy to know that it is Elvis Day, and they're giving away a Hatch show print poster that commemorates the 5 dates that Elvis played concerts in Murphy Center. And then a huge game Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock, the Lady Raiders and Louisville. So Middle gets another top 10 team in there, and that'll be Sunday at 4 o'clock. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Chip, I'm not sure if Rick mentioned it to you when you spoke to him today, but we actually had him on the show on Monday, and so my and Chris's presence in the Glass House are expected on Sunday. I don't know if Chris is going to make it or not, but I guess one of us needs to. So
my mom's going to be here, so I might just make her stick around a little longer so I can slide over.
Well, just so you know, Mo, I ran into Rick at Buster's today, and
that's where you were.
I saw that picture. Yeah,
you knew what it was, didn't you?
Very grudgeful. Yes.
And so Ansel, you gonna be there on Sunday, aren't you? I said, yes, sir. I'll be there. So, so that was that's gonna be a lot of fun this weekend, and in between, I guess you and you guys and myself will have a little time in Chattanooga.
One of us will.
Yep, I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll be there tomorrow. We've got Kelly and I have the Nashville Christian friendship game, and then on Friday we've got McKenzie and Clay County.
Yeah, but that'll be fun.
That should be fun. So they're putting the band back together, huh? You and Kelly.
Put the band back together, exactly. And you know, for you UAB folks, do I need to hang around and say anything to Trent?
Oh, Lord, no. You know, I will say this: after the initial shock, the temperament has improved among UAB fans today. So we'll see. You know, kind of one of those, you know, blaze on anyway type things. What are you going to do at this point? You got to support him.
Yeah.
So should be fun. Chip, we appreciate your time as always. Looking forward to hearing you on some high school games this week. And I'll be watching from right here.
Good deal. All right, fellas.
Thank you, man.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Chip Walters, voice of the Blue Raiders. Let's take a break here. When we come back, we've got 3 games to pick, Mo. So let's get into it right after this on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
All right. It is time to make some picks in the high school football world because, well, by the time we get on the show tomorrow, one game will be over and one will be kicking off. So we might as well make some picks before that. Here we go. First, Division II AA, Christ Presbyterian Academy, and Lipscomb Academy, which we've talked about ad nauseum today, allegedly going to be led by Trent Dilfer. Mo, what you got?
Well, you know, Nostradamus' crystal ball was gazed into prior to, or did not reveal that one of these teams would be losing their coach at the end of the game. So, yeah, I don't know. I think Lipscomb manages to keep things together well enough to win a close one over Christ Presbyterian, regardless of the status of their coach. I just think they might be. They may just have a little bit too much talent all across the field. I think Ingle Martin has done a great job, always does. Huge win earlier in the year against Oakland, but I just feel like I think Lipscomb will probably want to send Dilfer out the best way they can, and I think they go back to back.
I feel like this whole situation has to have been some sort of distraction. I don't know how much. Mm-hmm. They got 32 coaches at Lipscomb, so I'm not sure that one being distracted is going to matter. But there's a little distraction. There's probably a little animosity, not necessarily toward Dilfer, but at least toward how the situation ended up getting out and win. We know CPA has the ability to win a big game like they did against Oakland, and they were winning 21-13 at halftime against this Lipscomb Academy team in the regular season. Now, obviously didn't score in the second half, but Ingle Martin's a pretty good football coach, and if there's anybody who can make adjustments, I feel like it's him. I've got CPA winning 24-21 in an upset.
I'm not sure how much of an upset it'll be.
Well, I figure if one team lost to the other, at least it's at least a minor upset if you've played once and lost the first time. D2A, Friendship in Nashville. That's at 2 o'clock. I don't know why they have these listed at Eastern times, but 2 o'clock on Thursday.
I thought Friendship Christian was the best Division IIA team in the state all year, and I think they put their final stamp on that in this one. Nashville Christian beat a really explosive Jackson Christian team in the semifinals a couple of weeks ago, and they played some really good ball behind the freshman quarterback, Jared Curtis. I think they lost their first 2 games of the year, and they've not lost since. But I think Friendship Christian gets it done again. I think it'll be close, but I think the Commanders bring home another championship.
Pick Friendship to win it at the beginning. Picking Friendship to win it today. Friendship wins 38-27. And finally, AAA game, 6 o'clock kick on Thursday, NBA and Baylor. And as I've said, Mo, if NBA is available to pick, I'm picking them. I got the Big Red 35-28.
Yeah, I've got the Big Red as well. I've got them 27-21. I think Baylor's going to be really tough. They've got a kid, Caleb Hampton, who is a Mr. Football finalist. It's a baseball commit to South Carolina, but really talented for Baylor in the run game. But I just think this Big Red team has been on a mission, since they lost to McCallie in last year's finals. And I think they close it out strong.
All right, there you go. That's going to do it for today's edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Thank you guys for being with us. Tomorrow, we have Kevin Creasy. He's going to join us, Oakland head football coach. Talk a little bit about the 6A game on Saturday night. Should be a lot of fun. We'll hand out some hardware as well and pick the rest of the high school football games, 1A through 6A, right here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. He's Mo Patton. I'm Chris Yao for Justin Kulik in the studio. Appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow.